So you may have heard that half the world is on fire right now. Afghanistan is worse off than it was before we invaded. Our troops are in danger in Niger right now, actually begging for help that they're not giving them. Iran is funding a proxy war against us, and there's a bunch of other stuff going on. But instead of doing anything about it, our State Department is offering condolences to the Iranian president who died in a helicopter crash, who regularly chanted death to America. But what if I told you that the military, the State Department, and even the White House had reports that told them this stuff was going to happen exactly how it ended up happening? A report released this week by a House Foreign Affairs Committee confirmed that all this is true. And now they're considering subpoenaing Jen Psaki over it, too. I mean, I thought this was just incompetence, but it's actually much worse. The Biden administration deliberately did things that got our troops killed. They knew it was going to happen, and they did it anyway. My question is why? And as I come in this morning and I'm sitting there at my desk trying to figure out the answer to this question, I realize it's really not that complicated. This administration just doesn't give a you-know-what. They're so committed to this woke agenda that they honestly don't care. They don't care if it gets America's sons and daughters killed, and it's maddening to me. Because they're more focused on things like climate change. Because if you saw a hearing a few days ago, the Secretary of the Navy, Del Toro, all of his smugness included, is more concerned about climate change than he is about making sure we have enough boats to go to war.
One of the things you've actually been focused on a lot on is climate change, where in your nomination hearing, you devoted a full paragraph on climate change. You never mentioned shipbuilding lethality or war fighting. In your strategic guidance you issued to your department, you mentioned climate change 9 times. You don't address the size of trying to increase the fleet. You got to this committee, your climate action plan a year before your shipbuilding plan.
And the arrogance of this guy sitting on the other side. This exchange got even more heated when the same senator criticized the Secretary of the Navy about recruiting being down over 20%, partially because they fired 3,000 troops for not taking the COVID-19 vax.
They disobeyed a law.
They were fired.
They were fired because they disobeyed.
Do you regret that? Do you regret that?
Currently existed. I have no regrets.
You have recruitment challenges. You refuse to admit the DEI is a part of this. You're firing qualified people who are well trained, and you sit here so smugly to act like none of that has any impact on the readiness of our Navy.
Senator, we recontacted 3,500 of the 4,800 people who were fired. You know how many actually decided to come back to the Navy?
How many?
2.
Shocker.
2.
Shocker at the level of disrespect they receive from their government.
I'm totally with this. I'm surprised you found 2 people to come back to the military. I mean, why would you come back after that? Oh, I know you were willing to die for your country. You're as healthy as can be and have legitimate religious exemptions. But hey, here, take this shot or we're going to kick you out. Thanks for your service. I mean, it's so blatantly obvious that these people are more committed to the woke agenda than they are actually to defending this nation. No wonder our enemies are emboldened, because while places like China and Russia are building up their military, ours is shrinking. Now, the budget's growing, but the capabilities and our manpower are shrinking here in America. I kid you not. I was laying in bed last night watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I had an ad for the U.S. Army just pop up because I'm too cheap to pay for the ad-free version. This ad told me exactly why we cannot keep our ranks filled.
My name is Specialist William Hendricks. I'm a 42 Romeo Army bands person.
Why is the U.S. Army trying to, this is a recruiting commercial, they're trying to attract band people when we don't have enough people to fight a war? Just a thought, this young man may be a fantastic musician, but if you want to play the clarinet or whatever you do it somewhere else, not at the expense of the taxpayer, certainly not in the military. The military is not an after-school club. It is a lethal force trained to kill bad guys and break their stuff. That's all. But instead of recruiting stone-cold killers that are bigger, faster, stronger, and smarter than our enemy, the U.S. Army is spending God knows how much money on recruiting ads to get more band people. It sounds really dumb to me. And when they're not doing that, they're pushing every other woke, queer, non-binary diversity angle they possibly can. And they're so desperate to recruit these people that they're even doing ads in Spanish on the U.S. Army YouTube page.
Parece que algunos están destinados a ser líderes. Nacidos con confianza, bendecidos con talento, dotados de sabiduría. Así parece, pero no es así como se hacen.
I mean, who here would like to know why this is a bad idea? Because if I'm bleeding out on the battlefield and I ask you to throw me a tourniquet and you don't understand what I'm saying, I die. Because if I'm trying to coordinate a battle space, as I did, so I can drop a 2,000-pound JDAM on a bunch of bad guys that are shooting at me, and you don't understand English, you might not make it out of the way in time. And then, you know what? Your death is on me. It's on me as the JTAC who just told everyone on the battlefield to get the hell out of the way because you were recruited under some DEI program. I just killed an American soldier because he didn't understand English, and they're putting people like me in that position. You see why this might be a bad idea? Because they don't care, even if it costs someone their life. And another bad idea that came out of the Department of Defense, like $100 million PR budget.
This is the story of a soldier who operates your nation's Patriot missile defense systems. It begins in California with a little girl raised by two moms. I also marched for equality. I like to think I've been defending freedom from an early age, eventually standing at the altar to marry my other mom, and then attended UC Davis, where I joined a sorority full of other strong women. And after meeting with an Army recruiter, I found it. A way to prove my inner strength and maybe shatter some stereotypes along the way.
I literally care about none of that. All I care about is, can you land one of those missiles that you're tasked with launching where I tell you to, so you can kill the bad guys before they kill me and my unit. That's all. I don't care about your two moms or your glass ceiling or whatever else you think is important. I care about coming home to my 3 kids, and there's a million other soldiers that are in the same boat as me. People like this are the last ones I want to go to war with. You and all the other people who thought that this commercial would attract the right people to win wars. And I'll pose this question to the same people who wrote that ad. If you, Mr. Woke Director, are taken hostage by Hamas, who do you want coming to save your butt? Do you want that woman? Or do you want me and my boys, who don't care the least bit about diversity, who don't care anything about your two moms or your glass ceilings or your feelings or whatever? Would you, Mr. Woke Director, rather have an unwoke, borderline Neanderthal that is violent, a little rough around the edges, not at all politically correct, meat-eating, angry sled dog that maybe wears a MAGA hat on the weekends? Would you rather have that coming to rescue you, or this little girl with 2 moms? Yeah, I know the answer without even asking. So maybe your next ad should actually attract people like that, because they used to. And you want to know how I know? Because ads like this are exactly why I joined the military after 9/11. I dropped out of college after 9/11 because I watched those planes hit the towers. I joined the military to kill people who threatened my people. And you can call me whatever you want, but it's ads like this that made me want to do it. But I don't want people fighting next to me who joined the military for college or citizenship or the band or whatever else. I want people who joined to do bad things to bad people. In the history of the world, peace is an anomaly. War's the norm. And the only reason we have peace is because we were good at war, and no one wanted to screw with us. Because when they did, we crossed the Delaware on Christmas in the middle of the night barefoot. Because when Japan bombed our Navy, we invented a portable sun and turned 2 cities into sheets of glass. Because when you flew planes into our buildings, we flew 5,000 miles and stomped out the world's 5th largest army in Iraq in less time than it takes to have an Amazon package delivered. That's why. Maybe it's time we get back to that.